one of the things that was very impressive to us is the 100 walks that you did. Can you share with us the story about that and tell us a bit more?
Yes, so 2019, I took a 100-day walk. So I called it Be the Peace Walk. And that was on 25th anniversary of remembering the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda that took place in 1994. And that genocide, it's the genocide in which many members of my family were killed, and my relatives, my dad, and my friends, and many people. Again, the whole country, more than 1 million people were killed in 100 days. So on the 25th anniversary of remembering the genocide against the Tutsi, I remembered I wanted something artistic that I could do to honor and to remember what happened and how I survived.
Dear listeners around the world, be greeted. My name is Omar Obwami, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this podcast. You are listening to Black World Speak. Today I'm hosting this program with Ntigurirwa. Black World Speak is a podcast in which we highlight the ideas, competences, and the narrative and skills of Black communities around the world. Our guest today is one of the best related to the topic of this episode. With Hyppolite Ntigurirwa, we will be talking about peace and resilience. He grew up in Rwanda and survived the prevailing atrocities of his time, the genocide of the Tutsis. He is an artist, an activist, and founder of Be the Peace, an organization focusing on the use of art to halt the intergenerational transmission of hate and to promote the power of cross-generational healing. Being a Yale Ward Fellow, his work has also targeted disabled people. It is for us one of the best examples of resilience and advocacy for peace. Without wasting any more time, let's give the floor to our guest, who surely better than I will be able to define himself. Hyppolite, can you tell our listeners who you are?
Who am I? That's a tough question,
yeah.
But yes, I'm a human being, and I'm from Rwanda. That's where I was born, and I was raised in Rwanda.
Yeah.
So I'm an artist, I'm an educator, I'm a scholar, and I'm also a peace activist, I would say. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's like a humble description of all that you are and all that you do. We know that you do a lot of things in the domain of peace, as you said. And looking at your story, one of the things that was very impressive to us is the 100 walks that you did. Can you show or share with us the story about that and tell us a bit more?
Yes, so 2019, I took a 100-day walk. Yes, I called it Be the Peace Walk. And that was on 25th anniversary of remembering the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda that took place in 1994. And that genocide, it's the genocide in which many members of my family were killed, and my relatives, my dad, and my friends, and many people. Again, the whole country, more than 1 million people were killed in 100 days. So on the 25th anniversary of remembering the genocide against the Tutsi, I remembered I wanted something artistic that I could do to honor and to remember what happened and how I survived. I took that project, and it was kind of like performing, but I wanted to see what people are doing and how 25 years after the genocide, how I can show up in a people's home and see what happens. Because back in 1994, it was hard to show up in people's home. When you showed up in somebody's home, you were necessarily either going to be hidden or killed. And so for this time, I wanted to see what was. And so I walked across the country. I was sleeping in people's home that I never know, that I never met. And I was also with many people. I had an American friend, and a U.S. citizen friend who came to take photos all the way. His name is Dylan Cuddy, and he was with me the whole way. And many other people from different countries, Kenya, South Africa, USA, UK, all over, and people from Rwanda worked with me. So I used to sleep in different places, churches, which were actually in 1994 killing sites, and now again they're back to normal and they are churches. And I wanted to see, because I wanted to see what it is like. I got out with hope that there's some trust built, there's some people healing, lots of things. But I also wanted to listen to the silence. I wanted to listen to the silence because most of the time, excuse me, we listen to noise, we listen to people, we listen to politics, and we listen to lots of other things, but we don't have time to listen to silence. And that's what I wanted to see, wanted to listen to, and consider these plants we have, these animals we have, this land, the soil we step on. If they were to ask us, if they were to prove us guilty, we all should be guilty. We all could be really, really guilty of what we give them. The land, we give them blood and we kill people, we do what? But in the end, the soil gives us food. The soil, we plant things and then the crops grow up without cost. Now, I wanted to listen to all those voices of the unspeaking creatures. And that's what I got out with, and it was a humbling experience.
Yeah. It is like the soil is forgiving or something like that.
Yeah, everything else is forgiving. But we people, adapt. We are that much. But I have to say that people who are forgiving, and in all the whole story of my life, there is, I've seen the baddest side or the worst side of the humanity, but I also saw the best part of the humanity. So yeah. That's where the hope is, and that's probably why I keep enjoying life.
So that was, I think, a very huge experience of your life. Can you share with us, what was the feedback or the reaction of people after that? How was it strange for people? Was it how they took it, and what was the impact of what you did?
Yeah, I most of the time work with emotions, and for me, the impact was really, really a lot. And impact on me personally, it was a big impact on me. But with people, I can tell you an example of a 11-year-old kid, a 11-year-old girl that I met on the first day who wanted to carry my bag, and I was carrying almost 50 kilos on my back, and the girl wanted to help us. We were by 5 people, it was raining, we were really tired. And the girl saw me and saw us and said wanted to help us. And I was like, no, you need to go home. You need to go home, because it was getting close to evening. She was coming from somewhere. We were passing through a village in Nyarushishi, which was actually the camp. Now it's a village. Nyarushishi, it's a village for survivors of the genocide. Yeah. And that's where in 1994, I went as a refugee. So I was passing by with emotions, and that girl saw us and wanted to help us. I said, you need to go home because your mom must be waiting for you. She said, no, my mom told me that I need to help people that I see are in need. The first day, that was like a fuel for me to go all the way for 100 days. And honestly, that was impacting me personally. And when I share that story, you can see it's really, really touching and moving. But on other things, there are things that I recommended to the government and people who came and worked with me. We visited the genocide memorials. We visited people who have forgiven the people who tried to kill them, or who killed their families and relatives and children and sons. I visited the homes of people who were left with no kids, with no partner. Those homes are around Rwanda. Visiting people who committed the crimes of genocide, who are now back in community. We did some work with different centers. So like Center for people with disabilities and people like orphans of different kinds. We did a lot. So I think the impact was huge, even if it's not on anybody else but myself.
Yeah. I imagine.
You talked about emotions and a lot of experiences, and how did your mindset change after the 100-day walk?
Yeah, I think the power of listening to the silence, I call it, is important. Take time, listen to the silence. Just enjoy the beauty of non-human creatures. Enjoy, and I think it has given me also, more than anything, to see that everyone is born good. Everyone is naturally a good creature, but we become the result of what we find on earth. And if we don't manage what we consume, food, media, political propaganda, all those things, if we don't manage the consumption of it, it makes us to be who we can be, and it can be bad. And I think my emotions changed, and now I collected like plants and plant leaves, and I collected stones from different districts, and it was all across Rwanda, and photos. I go over all these stones and leaves. They're like my part of my life now. And so every stone or every leaf has the story to tell. And every now and again, they tell me the story. I write them sometimes. And so I think that's the impact. Yeah.
It's very deep. So we also know that you are now an actor of peace. You went to you can say a victim of what was done in Rwanda to now being one of the actors of the healing. What does it take to be to come from one side to the other?
Well, I think it takes the realization that excuse me. I think it takes the realization that we are not born bad.
Yeah.
I believe everyone is born with goodness. And I've seen it. And so for me, surviving the genocide, there were lots of things. There were lots of people. I was a child slave for the killers with many other kids. And we were considered to be the people to finish off the village Tutsis. And they said they would kill us to celebrate the finishing off of the people, the Tutsi of the village. But I also, even though there are people who were trying to kill us, but there are also people who, for example, my godparents who were Hutu, who tried to hide me and my dad and my family, even though they were not able to hide us for the whole time. Their capacity wasn't going to allow. But the goodness of people, of things that I've seen during the genocide, after the genocide, I chose to go with the goodness. And I chose to see that because there were a time when I was, thinking to become a killer and do revenge for my family and for my dad, for my people, for all innocent people who were killed. But then what happened is the goodness of people who helped me all along during or after the genocide helped me to realize that even in the genocide against the Tutsi, what was killing people was not necessarily just the blood and flesh of people, just what we call a human being. Yeah. It was what they have consumed for a long time before that time, before genocide, before 1994. What they have consumed is what made them do what they were doing. And today, if I see a racist person or a person doing something, there's a choice we make in life. And I'm not saying those who do not forgive or who are in the process of forgiving aren't aware of that or are bad. No, I'm just saying it's a process. And when you realize that what is good on earth or what is good in people, that's when you can change it. That's what happened to me. That's what made me to go from wishing to become a killer to become a peace actor. Like you said, I like the word peace actor. So yeah, that's how I changed, and it was in my teenage. And so that realization is what made me go for what I do today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.